It's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Today we're going to talk about perimeter again and combine that with area, which is something you're familiar with from earlier in the year. Remember talking about square units. So when we're thinking of area, we're thinking about how many squares can fill the space. So remember we would talk about 3 square units, could be like a 3 by 2 on a piece of graph paper or grid paper. So let's look at both of these ideas together. Okay, here we're going to combine area and perimeter and make sure that we keep them, the identity of, or the properties of them separate so that we know that when we're asked for perimeter, we're finding that linear length. Linear, remember, is line. It has the word line in it. So we're finding the linear length around the outside of a shape. And that area is the number of square units. That should sound familiar. Square units that will cover the surface of the shape. So let's look at that briefly here. So over here on the left, we have a shape that looks like an H almost. So I remember that yesterday we looked at this. That means that from each point on the graph, that's representing 1 meter. So down the side here, we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 meters. Across the bottom, 1. This side is 2. This side is 2. This side is 2. We have 1. It gets a little confusing with all these separate little sides. That's why I'm going to show you some strategies I use to keep track of all of them. All right, as I go through to add all these up, maybe I have my 1 plus 4, 5 plus another 1 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 plus 4 is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So altogether, the length around is 22 meters. And now we're going to be looking at the number of squares. You might, let's see, you could see that this here is a 4 by 1. So I'm going to have 4 squares in that section. You see that duplicated over here on the other side of this H shape, another 4 by 1, so there are 4 squares over there. And then there's the 2 in the middle. Oops. The 2 squares there in the middle, so together we have the 4 on the 2 sides, which is 8 squares, plus the 2 in the middle gives us 10. So we have 10 meters squared. So look how different those numbers are. Sometimes the perimeter length and the meters and the area squares can be similar, and sometimes it's quite different. All right, let's look at the perimeter of this following shape. It's almost like stairs going up one side and down the other. So across the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have 1, 1, 1, 1, and 2. That makes it a little confusing. 2 across the top, 2 on this side. There's the 1, 1, 1, and 1. Because remember that as we go along the shape, we have to get all these little bits. So if we go along, I feel like I just want to do 1 fewer than I did last time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 4. So that is 8. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 2 is 6. And then I have this other 6 here. It's kind of a big circle. The 6 here. So those together is 12, plus 8 more is 20. So the length around is 20 meters. So let's look at how we might find the area. We can use our multiplication skills for this too. Here we have a 1 by 6. So that's 6 squares there. Then we have a 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 in there, squares. And this one is a 2 by 2. So that's 4. So we can see that we have 14 meters square. All right, let's check this one out. So let's label our sides so we can keep track of the length that we're going to add up and then find the squares on the inside. So down this side, I can see that I have 1, 2, 3 feet. There's 1 foot there, 1 foot there, 1 foot there. Oh my gosh, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. It's a lot. 1, 2, 3 up this side, then 1, 1, 1, 1, That can be tricky to keep track of. I'm going to go through and count up how many ones there are. How many groups of 1 did I have going on here? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, which we know is 14. And then the only thing I haven't used yet is the 2 3s, which together is 6. So 14 and 6 is 20. So the perimeter is going to be 20 feet. And if we go through and look now at the different, let's find the biggest rectangular shape I can find, which I'm going to do this one right here. This is a 2 by 4. So a 2 by 4, so there's 8 squares in there. So that's going to help me keep track of my area. So 8 there, and then I can see there's 1, there's 1, there's 1, there's 1, there's 4 of those, plus 4. So that's 12. So the area is 12 square feet. All right, on this page, we're going to draw 2 different figures, each with an area of 5 square inches. So I have to look at this and see that my inches are 5 square, or they're 1 inch squares, and that I just need to keep 5 squares within it. So it doesn't really matter what type of shape you make. Just going to be a polygon. So I have 2 here. That'd be my third. 4, 5. Did I get it? And if I didn't, I can erase and try again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see from looking at this, I feel like I should go over that in a darker color. And in that, the area is 5 inches squared. What is, let's see, let's make another one. I kind of want to see 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can just add on a 5th like that. You guys could get as creative if you want. So we can look over at this again and go, this area is also 5 inches squared. Now, down here at the bottom, it says, do they have the same perimeter? I don't know, we should probably figure that out. So this side has a length of 2 inches. This side has 3 inches, 1, 1, 1, and 2. So all together, P is the abbreviation for perimeter. So we have 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 3 is 6. So 4 plus, sorry, I did that wrong in my head, right? Oh, 3, and then, so these 3 are 3, that's 3, and this was the 4. So that perimeter equals 10. And let's put the unit, 10 inches. Let's find the perimeter of this shape. We have 2 inches across the top, 1, 2, 3, oops, I didn't even write a 3. 3 here, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 2 plus 3 plus 2 is 7. So I'm looking at my perimeter. So this is 5 plus 2 more is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 is 12. Do they have the same perimeter? No, they do not. So isn't that interesting that you can have the same area, square inches, but we did not have the same perimeter? Doesn't mean it's incorrect. It's actually often that way. All right, let's look at a word problem. There are 3 students in a group. Each of them glues ribbon around a square card that they have. And this, each side of the square card has 15 centimeters. What is the total length of ribbon used? So I'm going to read it again and make sure I understand what's happening. There are 3 students. 3 students. They each get a card, and they glue ribbon around this, and it's a square card. Okay. Each side has a length of 15. What is the total length of ribbon? Better write some number of what? Of centimeters of ribbon was used. Okay, so if I figure out what one kid did, then I can figure out the rest. We know that the card is square. and we know that each side is 15 centimeters. So that means this side is 15, this side is 15, and this side is 15. So two 15s together is 30, so the other two is 30. So 30 plus 30 is 60 centimeters, which would be on one card. But that happens 3 times. So we would have 60 plus 60 plus 60. You could think of it as 6 tens plus 6 tens plus 6 tens. So the two 6 tens together would be 12 tens plus 6 more tens is 18 tens, also 180 centimeters. So 180 centimeters of ribbon was used in all. All right, let's read this problem. There are 3 square tables. They're arranged next to each other to form a large rectangular table. You can see that in the diagram. The perimeter of the large rectangular table is 24 meters. What is the perimeter of each square table? So we have to think about if they're separate. So there's 3 square tables. They're put together to make a large rectangular table. All together, the rectangular table is 24 meters. But we have to think of something. When I take this square table apart, this length on all 4 sides, because it's square, has to be the same. So what can I put? I technically have, let's see, I'm going to use some different colors here to help us see that. Okay, so we need to have the same length on this section, and this section, and this section. They all actually have to be the same in these each individual little sections. That will help us to see what we can make each one of them. Do you see why? Because when I take it back apart, they have to, this side has to be the same amount as this short side here. Together, that will make a longer side over here. So that means I can take the 24 meters that the table is big and share it on these little sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So let's see what happens. What if I have 24 meters shared by 8? That would be 3 meters. So that would mean each one of these ends, left and right side, will be 3 meters. But that means each of these is 3 also. But altogether, this whole top side is going to be 9 meters. Do you see why? There's the 3 there. And the bottom would be 9 meters. Let's add it back up and make sure it ends up being 24. So 9 plus 9 is 18. The 3 is 6. And that equals 24. So the perimeter, we still aren't done. So I should have written a statement. Square table perimeter is blank meters. So remember, I have 3 on this side, which means I have 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. So that's 4 groups of 3. So the perimeter of the square is 12. Let's do one more problem. Okay, so this just kind of gets into some puzzling that we can do with both area and perimeter. This one we're looking at perimeter. So each one of these squares is exactly the same size. So the figure below is made up of 5 squares of side 8 centimeters. So each side of the square is 8 centimeters. Find the perimeter of the figure below. So see what happens when this square matches up with this square. We end up with a different length of this side. So that's what we have to kind of work to figure out. So some part of the side in a couple of these places kind of disappears. So let's go, because this is important information. So each side is 8 centimeters. I feel like what I would like to do is get rid of those notes. And we're going to outline where we just have full 8 sides. So this is not 8 centimeters. This is 8 centimeters, this is 8 centimeters, and that is 8 centimeters. This side is not. So this is 8 centimeters and that's 8 centimeters. Below that is also 8 and 8. I don't need to worry about this line because it's not the outline. All right, let's keep looking for those 8 centimeters. Here's an 8 centimeter side, here's an 8 centimeter side. Here's an 8 centimeter side. This is not, here's 8, 8, and 8, and that's not. So let's go ahead and go back and put some green over where they're not 8. So I just need to count this part. Again, this part does not need to be counted because it's not the outline of the shape, similar to this line here. Oh, I missed one. That was 8. Do you see this one here? That one's 8. Okay. And then we also have this side. Oops, I wanted a green. And the thicker one. All right, so that's not 8. This is not 8. Any others? Oh, right here. This is not 8. So I feel like I would like to now go through and find how many groups of 8 I have. So how many groups of 8 are there? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, see, I missed one. 11, 12, 13, 14. Kind of want to go through that again because I feel like I messed up. Let's see. I'm going to make an X now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 groups of 8. I'm not worried about what that equals yet. How long is this side right here? So if the whole length is 8, but we only have this, and there's 4 there, that means this side is 4. It also means this side is 4. If this spot here is 3, that means there's 5 left there to make 8, and 5 there to make 8. So those two 4s together are 8. These two 5s together are 10. So that's 18 centimeters. And now I have to figure out 14 groups of 8. Don't let the adults mess you up. You know that 10 groups of 8 is 80. But we need 4 more groups. 4 groups of 8 is 32. So we can add those two together. So, ooh, I actually want to put 18 and 32 together, don't you? Because these are the 4 amounts I need to put back together. So 18 and 32. 32 and 10 is 42 plus 8 is 50. So now I have 50 plus 80 is 130 centimeters. So the perimeter is 130 centimeters in length. All right, it's the end of the week. A couple of pages, actually 3 pages in your workbook, page 224, 225, and 235. So you're going to skip ahead a few pages. You can go back and finish any other pages from the week, some practice pages on Seesaw, and you know what to do with math tiles. We're at the end of another week. You guys did great this week. I hope you had fun with this geometry, with polygons, perimeter, area, identifying the different shapes by their lines and their vertices and the number of pairs of parallel sides. Have a great weekend.